to be here with all of you beautiful women. I've noticed that there's this long-held belief that in order to be good, you must suffer. So if you want to be good in your health, you must, eat birdseed and work out like a gladiator. And in order to be good in your spirituality, you must live in a cave with no material possessions. And in order to be good in your business, you must sacrifice your health and your spirituality and hit a certain dollar amount. And, my big mission is to bunk that. That is not it at all. And really, we can be joyful and be good, especially when we're good. And so that has been really the driving force that has inspired both of my businesses. So as Wendy mentioned, I'm a tea crafter, and I create and I offer herbal teas that support your health and harmony, because I believe you should be able to just enjoy sitting with a cup of tea for your health. And then I also, with Imperfectly Amazing, I offer coaching where you can transform your life, your health, or your business by connecting to your heart. So as part of that, I'm here today to talk to you about recrafting your authentic intro. So I am going to share my screen with you. And there it is. All right.
I'm talking.
I know. Let's see if it'll do the slideshow now. Okay. It seems to be resisting the slideshow. Let me try this.
Ask Nola. She knows everything.
She's on babysitting duty right now. That's why it's quiet in the background. All the preparation is for naught.
It's imperfectly amazing, Kalua.
That's right. Imperfectly amazing, always.
It gives you permission to be imperfect. So thank you.
Okay. Let's try this. Get that there. And let's slideshow. There we go. It likes it better from here. All right.
Yay.
There it is. Recrafting your authentic intro. So here's my first one. Who remembers this movie?
Oh,
And, and Bubba went on for days about all the different types of shrimp: popcorn shrimp, coconut shrimp, pineapple shrimp, right? He just goes on listing and listing. And I bring this up because I have actually been in networking meetings where that's how the person introduced themselves. They just kept listing and listing and listing. And I was actually in one where it was actually one of the very structured introductions. Like, you had 30 seconds, they had a timer, and when the timer went up, you're supposed to be done. And the timer went, and this person just kept listing and listing and listing for about 2 minutes. And I'm not bringing this up to pick on anybody, because I think that everybody has been there, and we, want to share all the stuff about what we do. But then at the end of it, nobody remembers you or really much about you. They just remember you listed stuff for 2 minutes. So let's talk about what the actual purpose is, what we want to make happen in the introduction. And I call it an introduction because I feel like this is you letting people know about you. So, it doesn't have to feel formal or stilted if you're not formal or stilted. You're giving them an idea of who you are and what you're about, right? Just basically introducing yourself. And you want to pique people's interest. You want to get them to say, oh, if you've ever, I know I have, have you ever had somebody say, oh, what do you do? And you start talking to them and telling them, and they're like, and they just kind of glaze over and their eyes go back, and you could tell they're totally thinking about something else. I've made that mistake, right? So we want to, use the words that they use the terminology that you hear them say. you know, getting into the mindset of your client, your ideal customer, and be relatable to them so that you're going to trigger like, oh, I want to know more. I got to know more about this person. That sounds like exactly what I need. That's what I want. And then it's inviting them to learn more about you. They're going to reach out. So you don't have to list every single thing that you do in that introduction. You just want to say a few key things that are going to pique them. And then they're going to reach out and say, you know what, can we talk some more? And really, that's ultimately what you want, is to be able to get that person in a one-to-one with you where you can connect and learn more about them, and they can learn more about you and see if you're a good fit for each other. So I start with clarifying your message, right? And what I want to preface with is, you know, I'm kind of going over this quickly. These pieces are things that we will actually, you know, in my program, we spend time, we go through a series of questions and we write on it and we talk it out and, you know, we do all these things. So if it's not all coming to you like right now, that's okay. There's not anything wrong, okay? It's just sometimes you need to take some time, and I'll even put on, you know, clarity inducing music and get people's minds calm and clear. And these are also things I invite you to go back and revisit. So sometimes it shifts and it changes, and you know, as you go along, your message might change, your ideal client might change. So come back to this every so often and write on it again. But what you want to see, what is the main feature of your business? What are you offering? How are you curing your ideal client's pain? And ultimately, no matter what it is, there's some sort of pain involved, right? There's something that they need, and you're there to give them the remedy. And what is that? So get to the heart of that. And, you know, for some things, it might be really obvious. It's going to be the stuff that keeps them up at 3 a.m., you know, sweating it out. And for other people, it might be a little bit different. It might be about confidence. It might be about health, and, you know, just getting to that. What is it that you're doing to help them? One of the things that this is a really big place of using their words. So go back and look at what are your ideal clients saying about this type of service, whether it be yours, whether it be the testimonials they've given you or things they've said to you, or whether it be, you know, for similar businesses, you know, similar people out there, the things that they do. What are their words? What are they saying? The next one is your avatar. Who is your ideal client? And you see I have the picture because, you know, the way we do it, we start with the skeleton. We, you know, create this very broad idea of who is it we want to work with, and then we add the layers, we add the muscle and the tissue and the skin, and right, we start adding all of the detail and getting as specific as we can, you know, almost to the point of where you can imagine this person. And quite honestly, it can be your favorite client or customer ever. Who was that person that you worked with that it was like, I would work for free with that person for life? You know, who is that person? And see them as you're, you know, putting together your message, whether it be your intro or your marketing. See that person. And then identifying your why. What is your purpose? Why did you get into this business? Every single one of us has a different gift. And we all have a passion to share that gift. And that is not an accident. That is because that is what you were put here to do. That's your purpose. And so what is it? Sometimes you don't even know, you're not sure. So what is it that people are coming to you for? What are people constantly showing up and saying, I need your help with this because you're so great at it? And think about that for a little while. And sometimes that one is a little tougher. So, you know, giving yourself that time to write it out, work through it, and really identify why. Why am I here? What am I hoping to do? What is the impact I want to have in this world? And so we have the what, right? That is your message. That is your feature, what you do. We have the who, your ideal client. And we have the why, your purpose. And it can be even your compelling story. You've heard the saying, your mess is your message, right? So sometimes, a lot of times, people have weathered the storm. They've come out on the other side and said, I've got to help people with this. It doesn't have to be like, they don't have to live like that. Or, you know, this doesn't have to be their story. I'm going to help them. That might be your why right there, your story. So these are all the components, but this is where I want to get into the recrafting, because this is where I like to flip it to make it just a little bit different. And I'm actually going to go to a YouTube video to play for you. And anybody ever heard of Simon Sinek? Yeah. So he, you know, why try to say it when he says it so well? So I'm going to play this little video and let you see Simon Sinek tell his story about why.
I call it the golden circle. Why, how, what? This little idea explains why some organizations and some leaders are able to inspire where others aren't. Let me define the terms really quickly. Every single person, every single organization on the planet knows what they do 100%. Some know how they do it, whether you call it your differentiating value proposition or your proprietary process or your USP. But very, very few people or organizations know why they do what they do. And by why, I don't mean to make a profit. That's a result. It's always a result. By why, I mean, what's your purpose? What's your cause? What's your belief? Why does your organization exist? Why do you get out of bed in the morning? And why should anyone care? Well, as a result, the way we think, the way we act, the way we communicate is from the outside in. It's obvious. We go from the clearest thing to the fuzziest thing. But the inspired leaders and the inspired organizations, regardless of their size, regardless of their industry, all think, act, and communicate from the inside out. Let me give you an example. I use Apple because they're easy to understand and everybody gets it. If Apple were like everyone else, a marketing message from them might sound like this. We make great computers. They're beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. Want to buy one? Meh. And that's how most of us communicate. That's how most marketing is done. That's how most sales is done. And that's how most of us communicate interpersonally. We say what we do. We say how we're different or how we're better. And we expect some sort of behavior, a purchase, a vote, something like that. Here's our new law firm. We have the best lawyers with the biggest clients. We have, you know, we always perform for our clients, do business with us. Here's our new car. It gets great gas mileage. It has, you know, leather seats. Buy our car. But it's uninspiring. Here's how Apple actually communicates. Everything we do, we believe in challenging the status quo. We believe in thinking differently. The way we challenge the status quo is by making our products beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. We just happen to make great computers. Want to buy one? Totally different, right? You're ready to buy a computer from me. All I did was reverse the order of the information. What it proves to us is that people don't buy what you do, people buy why you do it. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. This explains why every single person in this room is perfectly comfortable buying a computer from Apple. But we're also perfectly comfortable buying an MP3 player from Apple, or a phone from Apple, or a DVR from Apple. But as I said before, Apple's just a computer company. There's nothing that distinguishes them structurally from any of their competitors. Their competitors are all equally qualified to make all of these products. In fact, they tried. A few years ago, Gateway came out with flat screen TVs. They're eminently qualified to make flat screen TVs. They've been making flat screen monitors for years. Nobody bought one. And Dell came out with MP3 players and PDAs. And they make great quality products, and they can make perfectly well-designed products, and nobody bought one. In fact, talking about it now, we can't even imagine buying an MP3 player from Dell. Why would you buy an MP3 player from a computer company? But we do it every day. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. When we communicate from the outside in, yes, people can understand vast amounts of complicated information like features and benefits and facts and figures. It just doesn't drive behavior. When we communicate from the inside out, we're talking directly to the part of the brain that controls behavior, and then we allow people to rationalize it with the tangible things we say and do. This is where gut decisions come from. You know, sometimes you can give somebody all the facts and figures and they say, I know what all the facts and details say, but it just doesn't feel right. Why would we use that verb? It doesn't feel right, because the part of the brain that controls decision-making doesn't control language. And the best we can muster up is, I don't know, it just doesn't feel right. Or sometimes you say you're leading with your heart or you're leading with your soul. Well, I hate to break it to you, those aren't other body parts controlling your behavior. It's all happening here in your limbic brain, the part of the brain that controls decision-making and not language. But if you don't know why you do what you do, and people respond to why you do what you do, then how will you ever get people to vote for you or buy something from you, or more importantly, be loyal?
All right. So I love that. Very cool stuff. And with that, I suggest doing it just a little bit tweaked for your intro. Instead of the how, the who it is you're working with. So starting with that why. So you go through, you write out the why, start with that. Because I tell you what, every time when I see people start with the why, I notice the response. Everybody seems to engage, like, oh, it kind of takes people off guard, like, oh, this isn't the usual intro, right? So it's starting with that why, and then who are you doing this for? And then you can get to the what. Because truly, you know, people are more inspired by the why. That whole what is, you know, so what? So what? You got to convince them, so what? What's in it for me? And so this is where I like to flip it around, that usual intro that we do. Start it with the why, go to the who, and then the what. And one of the things, Miss Linda Tello over there made an observation that when we sell other people, like when we talk about other people and what we do, we actually tend to do this. This is why we're so effective at selling other people. We're like, oh my God, Heidi is so committed to making you feel confident in your own skin. Like she is gonna wardrobe you in confidence because she's so passionate about it. You gotta go to her, you gotta go. And people are like, oh my God, I gotta go, right? We talk about other people's whys, and then we're just so convinced, oh yeah, right? It immediately speaks to people. But when we sell ourselves, we don't give ourselves that same benefit. It's just something we haven't thought to do until Simon came around and said, hey, look at this, right? So it just creates such a different impact. Look at the difference when he said the same exact things, but in the opposite order. It was just like, whoa. And it was just so simple. And with that, I say, try it. Practice it, go for it. One of the greatest benefits of weekly networking meetings is to be able to go out and practice your pitch, your introduction, and see what lands. And you know, anybody who's in my group knows I've thrown out some stinkers, and that's okay, right? You know, I'm just like, wrong, that did not land, you know? And I go back to the drawing board and I try it again. You know, when you have, sometimes it's hard because you have a lot of different whys. And that's especially, you know, you heart-centered entrepreneurs out there, you have a lot of whys. Great. You can use a different why each time. ultimately the person you're working with is still the same, and the person and what you're doing is still the same. So you're still going to be consistent. And then especially if you have, you know, especially like a tagline or something, like I'm going to use Heidi again as an example, the fashion fairy godmother, right? Or Linda, who is helping you pay for your future instead of your past, right? So these taglines are a great way to keep it consistent, and you can play with the why and shift it around and see, you know, what really relates to people. I will never forget a lady who came when we were still meeting in person at North Raleigh. One of the ladies came in and, you know, she said very openly and honestly, I'm trying a different elevator pitch and I want to see what you think. And she was a financial advisor, and she went on to say that when she was very young, both of her parents were taken in a car accident. And aside from obviously the emotional, her lifestyle did not change, you know, for her and her siblings, because they planned. They had a financial plan in place and nothing changed. And everybody there got chills. You know, that really spoke. And so that was her compelling story. She started with her compelling story and everyone got chills. So it just makes such a difference to just shift the order. And with that, I say, I am Kalua again. And I do have a business boost session beginning actually this Friday. I do close the doors after the second meeting. I record, so if you have missed any, you can see them. But I do close the doors after the second meeting because I keep a vortex, right? A nice sacred space, and I don't want a lot of in and out. So I close the doors to keep it supportive, sacred space. And this is just part of what we do in there, is getting clarity on our messages, but also taking some imperfect, inspired action. Working on mindset things, the things that might sabotage you from moving forward, as well as really pragmatic practices. So I will put, you know, information in the chat to connect with me if you would like to, and I would love to hear from any of you. But mainly, I would love to take some time to see if you have any questions or anything you want to talk out. I'm going to stop the share. And there we are.
So Kalua, I had seen the video that you played before. I couldn't think of the guy's name, but I'd never thought about applying it to something as simple as your elevator pitch. So I'm starting to, as we're talking, writing down my whys and who's and what. So thank you for the clarity on that. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. You know, I forgot to mention, another thing that I really like about doing it that way is you don't get caught up in your head. So sometimes we get so worried about memorizing it just the right way and, oh no, I missed a word and now I'm totally thrown off. When we start with our why, that's a little bit more natural for us. And it's not a big deal if you got a word wrong. You know what you're talking about. It's my why, you know? And so it really helps you feel more authentic and feel just a little bit more connected to the message.
Oh, I
So
like it.
I took that business boost class and I thought it was excellent and I learned a lot from it, and I totally recommend it. Just want to throw that out there for general consumption.
Well, thank you.
So I have a question about the elevator pitch or the introduction. If you say the same things over and over again, what do you find, or what should you do in order to make yourself stand out? Because there's a lot of individuals who are realtors, there's a lot of individuals who are insurance individuals, and a lot of people who are looking to help you you know, do something good for your health. So what do you suggest, other than, you know, going back to that, the what, the who, the why? Do you find it to be better to have a conversation with a person versus that memorized information?
I guess I don't know what you mean by having a conversation, to have the one-on-one.
No, to like make your 30-second more of a entice a conversation. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, so that's why I say starting with that why, because truly, you know, there may be 50 realtors, but they don't all do it for the same reason. You know, everybody's got a different why. And then, like, again, you can use your compelling story as the why. So if you're starting with a story or your why, that's differentiating you just that much more. And then ideally, you know, when you're talking from your heart, the people who are meant to work with you are hearing you. And so now you're drawing your tribe. So those are the people that, again, like you would work for free. You know, if you had all the money in the world, who would you work with for free? Those are the people that are coming towards you because they're the ones who are relating to your message.
And I think it's human nature to be attracted to what's familiar, because I can be in a room full of people and I will hear my New York accent and I'll walk right up to the person. Hey, how long you been here? Where'd you just come from? Like it's a natural thing, almost like a lighthouse light beacon drawing me in, you know? But I think that when we use our voice, we attract like-minded people. And evidence of that is this networking group, because I operate from a place of generosity. And when I look around at every face in this room and on the screen, I can say that about everybody who attends here. We're all looking to help somebody. That's our big part of our why, is we want to make a difference. We want to help people. That's true about everybody here. And so I think that, you know, this idea that when you speak, you're drawing people to you who are like you. They become your tribe. We want to support each other. We want to refer to each other because we all believe in each other, and we all know each other's character and who we are. Like when Heidi sees you in your underwear, do you think I would send somebody if she had a creep factor to her? Heck no. I think that, you know, people ask me for a nanny. I think, oh my God, Alice, because, you know, that's your baby. My God, you can't even get more precious than that. I feel totally comfortable sending her in there because I know her. I know her why. I see her with her puppies swimming in the pool. She's all in when she's doing something. She's got great moral character. And that I can go through every face and say different variables, same line, you know? So I think that authenticity is really your most redeemed. You have to be you. Everyone else is taken, right?
I'm going to go back to Wendy's question because I think I understand where you were going with it. In this setting, Kalua, when you have that 30 seconds to introduce yourself to a room, like everybody in here has heard my perfected 30 seconds, probably enough that they could recite it. When you're in a setting like this, what can you do to make it so that it's not so robotic and recorded? So if you're doing that introduction to the same setting, so occasionally we'll have 1 or 2 new people on, how would you suggest changing it up?
Well, do you find that you have more than one why?
Yes.
So I would shift the why that you're using.
Or another thing you could do is a testimony from a client. I worked with so-and-so this week. This is how I made a difference for them. And as you work with different clients, you can keep shifting that testimony.
Well, and I hate it that Laura's not here today because she has the most fun 30 seconds out of anyone I've ever met. If you haven't heard her do a 30-second, I hope she comes back soon so that we can hear it. Hers is different every time, and every time she does it, I am blown away by how creative she is.
Yeah. She's found a house for Mickey and Miss Old McDonald, Mickey and
It all
Minnie,
rhymes.
this lady who lived in the shoe.
Yes, I like
Which
that.
is the one I relate to the most. That's only children know what to do.
If you think about, like, as you go through your week, right, you know, or look at last week, what is something inspiring maybe that you did for a client that lit you up? This is why I do what I do. This happened for so-and-so. I'd love to do that for you. You know, you can always just be continuing to look at the things that you've been doing. And like I said, with all of those pieces, that is something that you can always go back to and clarify and continue to redefine and recraft, because it shifts and it changes and some of your messages change, and just keep doing that.
Yeah, last week Wendy saved somebody $8,000. That's
That's a
remarkable.
big deal.
Exactly. She's like, I love being able to do this for my clients. This, lights me up. Let me help you.
Do
Don't you think
that you
also the cultural trends, being aware, like I'm thinking retail stores, Heidi, are not a safe place for people to go. And so you provide safety, you provide personal attention, personal cueing to what their needs are. You provide a place where someone could undress and feel comfortable with you because you become that connector. So I think when we look at cultural trends too, like what's happening with COVID. I mean, I emphasize for me, safe, customized, delivered on your porch, and a virtual follow-up. So looking at what's happening, even like the online increase with COVID, 80% of people are going to do their shopping online. How can you, all of our businesses, fit into that? Look at what the trends are in the culture, and then how can I meet that? And that becomes an ever-changing part of what we're projecting, right? To how we're meeting the pain that's going on right now, this week, this day, or like you said, Kalua, last week. What am I hearing people say? Because the one thing that jumped out at me was, it's got to be relatable. Like, what are their words? And how can I take their words and create the need that I'm meeting?
Right. That's a good thing.
How many times have you felt like, oh, there's so many things I want to say, but I can't say them all in 30 seconds? Can you raise your hand if you've ever felt like that? So write all of those down and pick one each week. This week, I'm going to use this one. Next week, I'll use that one. So you have this library of stuff. And I guess that's where I'm really saying, let's bring it in. Let's not do that shrimp list, right? Let's just take one each week and focus on that one. And you have all of these different whys and reasons that you do this. I know for me, for sure, there's not just one. And sometimes it is like, oh my gosh, which one do I say? Because there's so many. But yeah, and then using what is relevant today? What is relevant right now? What's relevant at Halloween time? What's relevant at Christmas time? Or, using all of those to play up. Sometimes, especially if you're in a product-based industry, you have certain things that come up each month, like promotions and things. So what does that promotion mean to you? Why do you feel strongly about that particular product of the month?
I like that.
Did we all give our 10 seconds and have Kalua evaluate it? Give our 10-second why?
Well, we at Apex, we usually do a presentation that's actually learning about, getting to know you and learning about your why. So we will be offering slots up to individuals to participate in that one. And I think that's a better place to try to get things figured out for your why, so that you can incorporate it into your introduction. But I would strongly suggest that you reach out to Kalua, and if you want her to go through the why with you, then set up a meeting with her and do a one-on-one and see where that can go for you. With that being said, we got 5 minutes left, and I want to make sure that we wrap this up and that we also do any announcements or accolades at this point.
I have an announcement. Tomorrow, the Clayton chapter of Ladies 1099 will be meeting at 11:30 at La Piscina in Clayton on Shotwell Road.
I will be there.
Linda will be there, and we are going to be brainstorming to come up with ways to have that special touch with your customers on how to come up with a plan for the holidays for your customers.
That makes sense inside a budget.
Hi, Debbie, I have a quick question. Are you guys meeting inside or outside?
Outside. We will be outside, weather permitting, and we try to leave as much space as possible between us.
But we do take our masks off when we put food in our face. really hard not to do it that way. Pretty messy.
Make a hole.
Yeah, but then you lose the effectiveness of the method.
I have two things that I'm doing in the next week. Tomorrow evening, wait, what's today? Wednesday. Tomorrow evening, I have a Park Lane event. It's a jewelry jackpot. It's kind of like a quarter auction, but a little different. I'm still looking to sell 10 more tickets. Tickets are $20 and it puts you into every giveaway for the night. Demi has been to one, Linda has been to one.
I've been to many.
We give away thousands of dollars of jewelry, and we're doing something a little different tomorrow night. We're gonna have a fashion scavenger hunt throughout the event that I'm in charge of, and I'm super excited about that. Next week, starting the 22nd through the 24th, the designer consignor sale at Cary Town Center. I have 2 appointments left, 1 o'clock Friday and 1 o'clock Saturday. If you're not comfortable coming out, I can do those appointments virtually. So I would like to get those filled in. All of my profits and commissions, I'm giving 10% back to Redefine Courage for this month. It's a local nonprofit that supports breast cancer fighters in their post-op journey by providing shirts that handle all the ports and tubes and whatnot, and they're still pretty, so.
I have an announcement.